All right, hit it.
This is Ralph Brewer from helpformen.com, and you are listening to Vroom, Vroom, Veer with Jeff Smith, reminding you that you are not weak to ask for help.
Well said.
All
Yes,
right.
that's way better
Very
than
good.
the thing I stuck in there. Right? I put in there, I would say 90% of people just say what I write.
Oh, really?
And I think they're just nervous about, being here. And they're like, yeah, that's there. That's there. Let's say that.
There you go.
Thusly, I give suggestions. But good job. Okay.
Very good. Excellent.
Let me hit stop. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Pia Mailhot-Leichter. I'm pretty sure I screwed that up. Welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer, and thank you for being here. How's it going?
Great, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
So I'm in Vegas. You're in Copenhagen. Time zones are awesome. So you're at Collective Studio. Talk a little bit about what you're most excited about in Copenhagen. Collective Studio. What's your jam? What are you creating today? Your life.
What's my jam? Oh, I have so many jams. So right now, what's exciting me the most is kind of I guess the usual, but on steroids. I co-create or creatively partner with what I call unconventional dreamers, visionary rebels, and inspired misfits to bring their visions and ventures into the world to create an impact. So in other words, I help people create, people who do things differently to make a difference. And right now I'm working as a fractional creative director, as well as a creative coach, and co-creating brands and businesses and dreams with clients. And it's exciting work. It lights me up.
It sounds fun. It sounds like you're having fun.
I am, definitely. Life is too short not to have fun.
Amen.
So we might as well choose the things that, light us up, that turn us on, that make us smile. It's not like that 24/7 because nothing ever is,
right.
But that the majority of the time.
You got to do something.
Yeah, we got to do something. So we might as well make it something that brings us some kind of joy.
Joy. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. I heard somebody say on a podcast, who was it? Jack Kornfield said, it's our duty. We have a duty to be joyful. Because
absolutely,
we're alive.
Absolutely.
And you can't just be so morose, because the world is always there and it's always going to be what it is. And, there's goods and there's bads, but optimism is more, it's more effective and pragmatic than the opposite. How's that sound?
Oh, absolutely. And this life is finite.
Right.
So that means that everything passes.
Correct.
So the good passes as well. And
totally.
so does the really bad.
That's right.
It's all impermanent, all coming and going all the time.
Oh yeah, you're sounding like a Buddhist master here. I love it.
Well, you said Jack Kornfield, so that kind of sparked a whole other train of thought. But we might as well enjoy the ride while we're on it, because before, hopefully not anytime soon, but before we know it, we're gonna have to get off this wild ride.
We will shuffle off the mortal coil. Yes.
We're not going to be waking up anymore.
Could be tomorrow. That's right.
And every day we get a chance to start again. Every day the sun rises.
Yeah.
We get to decide how we want to create that day afresh. And ain't that grand?
Ain't they grand?
So
this is pretty cool, because you've had like a really veery life. There's some vrooming, but
colorful past.
Colorful past. Well said. So, okay, where did you grow up? You grew up in New York, is that right?
Well, I think we share that in common, Jeff. I'm not an Army brat or a Navy kid, but I'm just the daughter of a former hippie curious mother who loved do-overs. So she loved moving.
Wow,
So I moved
okay.
around a lot in my life.
Excellent.
But I grew up mostly in the Lower East Side, Manhattan. My parents separated when I was really young, 3. But my dad stayed in the same loft on the Bowery,
Okay.
Lower East Side, Manhattan for like
Okay.
25 years. So that always
Lower
felt like
East
home because
Side,
even
okay.
though it was like weekends or holidays, that was the one kind of solid place.
Okay.
But I lived in Brooklyn, Pearl Street, Manhattan, then Puerto Rico, later on Ottawa, Montreal, near Vermont, back to New York City. And then as an adult, the pattern kind of continued because it was what I knew.
Okay.
So that led me to Sri Lanka, Bahrain, France, London, and now Copenhagen, where I decided really Copenhagen, it wasn't necessarily intentional when I landed
Right.
here in 2010 that this was going to be the place
Lockdown.
that yeah, exactly. This was going to be the place that I anchor,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
create roots. But it ended up being that. So this has actually been the longest. This is where I'm learning what it's like to stay and to
Right.
develop a deeper relationship with myself, other people, and a place.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the new adventure is staying. That's why I call myself a recovering nomad.
That's a lot of traveling. So you were a journalist to start, right?
Yeah, in Sri Lanka,
Okay.
I mean, it was fantastic. I had the chance to
So
intern
did you study journalism in school?
at
Or
Hunter
something else?
College. I studied English interdisciplinary studies, so
Okay.
English language arts, so language arts, literature, and writing.
Okay.
And then after I
works.
graduated, yeah, that works. Magna cum laude. I
Wow,
went to
fancy.
Yale's. I decided to, go to Sri Lanka. I had an opportunity to work at a local English weekly paper. Articles weren't guaranteed, but I did end up writing and publishing quite a few. And then I continued to do communication work from there, UNDP, helping
What's a UNDP?
the United Nations
I got
Development
that.
Program.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
Wow,
was
neat.
helping them kind of de-jargonize, like how do they communicate on, their website and talk to people in a
Okay.
language that
Sure.
people understand
Like, yeah,
and
if you say
resonate. And
UNDP, I don't know what that means.
there you go. Already,
I knew what the
already out
UN
to-
was, but I was like DP.
So,
it could
and
go
then I
weird
worked
places.
for an NGO while I was also in Sri Lanka called Plan International, doing marketing and communications. So, and then I went back and decided to do my master's in international relations or global affairs at NYU
Wow.
for 2 years. Yeah.
So what kind of personality type, like you must be like one of those overachiever types. You don't get cum laude if you're drinking on the weekends in college. I don't know. That's an assumption on my part, but like what sort of kid were you in college that gets you to cum laude? Were you like a studious kid or?
Well, you see, I got kicked out of my house in Montreal when I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it was kind of like a rough ride. It's, lots of stuff. My mom was moving again, contentious relationship. I love her to pieces, but 17, and it was just hard.
Couldn't be
And,
together anymore.
yeah, kind of. So, I was invited to leave. Let's make it sound nice. But,
You were kicked out. That's all right. That's all good.
and she said, you'll come back and you'll learn how to like live by my rules and do the things I tell you to do. And I never did go back. So I got into what's called in Canada, it's cégep. So it's like a junior college, I guess is the equivalent, early. And I got a loan and I blew it because I had no idea how to budget. I'm like 18 years old. I don't know how to budget. I've never, I would
Right.
go grocery shopping and spend $300. I had no idea. Drinks were on me when we went to places with my friends. Like, hey, get it.
I
And
still have room
very-
on this credit card. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
remember those days. Yes.
very quickly it
Right.
went down to zero, and I found myself like, oh my god, I had a roommate. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay rent? And so I ended up having to stop school and get a job working at a mall. I
Ew.
became the youngest assistant manager, which didn't feel like an accolade to me at the time. But it taught me a very valuable lesson. It taught me how to balance budgets and
Sure.
how to manage, like get a
good.
paycheck every 2 weeks. So if I
Right.
messed up, I would
But that's
be
good
okay.
though. You know, a lot of people like in that scenario, they don't like learn, right? So good on you.
Well, felt like I had to. What it also showed me was an alternative. Like if at least at the time, I think things have changed now. It was a long time ago, but if you didn't get an education, your options were limited. I feel like it's a different world today, but back in
Depends on
those
what
days,
how you define education. Like you don't necessarily need to go to college necessarily, right? Nowadays, but you definitely you need to know how to do stuff.
yeah. But I
You
think
need to know how to do something or
when I
learn
was
how
like
to do something.
when I was like 19, my mom, ever since I was a kid, my mother would always talk about the importance of a college, like being well educated in school and going to school. So it was just like, okay. So when finally I was in a position to be able to go back to college, I went back with a vengeance. I was like, I'm going to do this thing.
So you kind of came back with an attitude of, I'm going to overachieve this.
Yeah, I'm not even overachieve. I'm going to put everything I have into it because I
No,
actually really, it's my life. It
and
matters.
you wanted
Like,
to do it. Yes.
yeah, if I
Right.
don't do this, like what else will I do? So I want to make sure that I do this right. So there was some of that pressure that also led to the Magna. And then when I did my master's, I graduated summa cum laude, and that's because also I'm taking out loans. I'm in New York City. It's like I want to make this count. I want to get the most out of this education. I want to give it everything I have. It's 2 years of my life. It ended up being a year and a half because I worked that hard. But it's like it's 2 years of my life. Let's really go for it. Let's go all in.
Right.
So I think there was always like a cost. There was something at stake. So having something at stake lit a fire under my peach.
I love it. So, okay. So having that sort of resume of lots of laudes, right? That helps. So what was the first job experience? Did you go like immediately into journalism or talk about it?
That was before the journalist. I was in Sri Lanka before I did my master's, but afterwards, I had the opportunity to have a contract role in New York City at the United Nations Development Program in their marketing and communications department. Contract means they can pretty much fire you at any time. It's not
You're an
right?
at-will employee. Yeah.
Yes.
I did it a lot. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
There you go. And the
You have
salary,
to make friends.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and you have to earn your stripes, right?
Obviously. Yes.
and
So
the
easy to
salary-
fire. Yes.
Yeah, the salary wasn't. I mean, I had a loan on my back, and I was living in New York City, so I was like,
Right.
this is not going to work.
There's a lot more prestige than money. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Exactly. But I was like,
Understood.
girl also needs to survive.
Having that on your resume can't hurt, though. Having
No.
UNDP on your resume. Now that I know what it means, it sounds good, right?
Yeah.
I've done jobs just for resume lines.
Yeah, well, I did get it on my CV in Sri Lanka, so I had a stint
Right,
there. I just
right.
so I had that option, or I had the option of working to producing an economic documentary in Bahrain.
That sounds fun.
That's what I said. I said this sounds interesting.
Just so you know, like Bahrain, when I was in Saudi Arabia for like 59 days, that really sucked, by the way, because I was on a deployment right after. Well, it was part of Desert Shield. Yeah. So in between wars, so I was there in 2002 before we went back for round 2 in 2003. So everybody said Bahrain was the place to be because there was this ship you could go to for R&R and they had booze.
Yep.
Right. So that's my Bahrain. That's as close as I got.
Did you go?
No.
Oh,
I got to go to Qatar. Qatar was cool. I was in Doha.
Definitely.
That was a different gig, though.
I've heard a lot of good
You can
things.
drink in Doha, too, in certain places.
Well, Bahrain is and I was in Manama, a very, very interesting place because it was a trade port for many, many years. And so you could go to a bar and you can also go to the mosque. And it was a very open place to a certain degree. Okay.
Right.
Within reason.
Sure.
And a lot of Saudis would come up for the weekends because that
Get their
was a
drink
place
on.
you could,
Right.
yeah, and let your hair, let your proverbial hair down.
Right.
But, and I thought, wow, I get a chance to kind of write the scripts and do all this creative stuff. And I can't wait. So I ended up going to Bahrain and discovered that I actually had to sell ad space to produce said documentary. which
Oh, lovely.
I know, to CEOs and ministers. And it really at the time was like, how did I just write my paper on I wrote my paper about the role of transitional justice in post-conflict peace building. So I really wanted to,
Very
make
heady
it,
stuff. Yeah.
make it a positive impact in the world.
Right.
And I'm selling ad space in Bahrain. How the hell did this happen? So it was kind of a hit. But after around 8 months of doing that, when I left, I also realized how much I learned, because I learned a lot about sales is really important. I mean, we're constantly showing up, and maybe not constantly selling, but we're definitely inviting people into our worlds in different ways, right? So being able to have the confidence to pitch to ministers and CEOs and leaders of the business community, did help, even though it was really difficult. It did definitely give me some strength and some skills that were really valuable to me later on. Just at the time, I had trouble seeing that. Like, it took me, it's kind of a hindsight kind of job, if you know what I mean. It's like after the fact, it was like, yeah, okay.
So in it, you were like kind of disappointed and going like, this is not what I signed up for. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
mean, it had its highlights, but I was just like, what am I doing? How did I get here?
Right.
This wasn't the plan. And then I
So
actually
you somehow figured out how to sell these ads for 8 months, I guess.
I did.
Good for you.
I did.
Yes.
I figured it out.
Like the number one favorite attribute that was applied to me by a boss was, you know how to figure shit out.
That's good. Well, you know what I would attribute that to? And
What's
you
that?
can, this is you, so you can let me know if this resonates at all.
Okay.
But moving around.
Moving around is awesome. Yes.
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 If you have to be in different, if you learn how to navigate and be in different environments, especially if you move often.
I moved a lot.
think,
That does
yeah,
help.
that's what you told me.
Right.
Exactly. So
Right.
I think it gives us a certain agility.
And in the military, you don't get to stay in the same job. So it goes to that point. But like every job, say assignment is somewhere between 2, 3, 4 years. As an enlisted guy, officers are like measured in months, right? They move a lot. Yeah. Especially the upwardly mobile officers with like Air Forcey names. They're moving all the time. It's like, go put this feather in your cap. Then in 12 months or 8 months later, you put this feather in your cap. You're just on this little track, right? That enlisted people, not so much. So like if you're in an assignment for say 3 years, you might have 3 jobs in that assignment, like different positions in the same assignment.
Well, all
That's
of
great,
that.
right? That's awesome. Yeah. Because
All that helps you learn how to figure shit out,
totally.
because you have to.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And so
Yeah.
I think that's the gift. That's the gift that comes from challenge, or comes from
Newness.
newness. Yeah, and maybe they're veers as well. I'll use
Totally.
your terminology.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
when we have to veer right, veer left, veer right. Oh,
Right.
I'm in a new environment. What do I do? Okay, let me figure it out. So in that way, looking back, at least in my life, I can say I'm grateful for all the weird
Every time.
veers.
And the thing
know?
is it gets addicting. Like I learned that it's my favorite thing to do, really. And
What,
then
move?
once I've figured the thing out, it's time to go.
But that's what I mean about
yeah.
learning to stay.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
When I was
Right.
I was getting divorced, and divorces are never easy.
They suck,
That's
yes.
that's how it goes, right?
Right.
And I was not in a good place. It was rough. I was in Copenhagen, and I decided that was after getting divorced. I'm like, okay, maybe there's some things I need to look at, and I went to see a therapist. I stumbled into the office of one of the most amazing therapists that I
Was
still
this during or
see to this
after
day.
lockdown?
After. No. This was years ago. This was
Oh,
I'm going
years
back.
and years ago. Okay.
Well, maybe a decade ago at least.
Doesn't seem
And
like that
so-
long ago, though, does it?
no,
2015. It doesn't.
yeah.
When you say it, it doesn't seem like a long time ago, but it was.
Yeah,
a
maybe
decade
20.
ago.
Yeah, maybe even 2013 or something. It was a few years after I landed in Copenhagen. And I was my first response was, okay, it's time to go. So I'm thinking of Paris. I've never lived in Paris, and I actually had a job lined up to move to Paris. And I went to see my therapist, and I spoke to her about it. I said, yeah, so this is what's next. And she said, yeah, you could do that. You could move to Paris. I'm not judging you, but I have a question for you. You know, what might it be like to stay in a place?
Yeah.
What might it be like to develop a deeper relationship with yourself in a place,
interesting.
with other people in a place? Because she said, you know, traveling can be like a honeymoon. You kind of
It's totally a honeymoon.
skirt the
That's
surface
what,
of
like, the Air
yourself and
Force is
things.
being, yeah, because it's like for the first 6 months, you're the new guy. You got nothing to do. And then there's the job. And then 6 months before you leave, you're out again. Right. So it's got like a TV show vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm here for 3 seasons of this show.
Yeah. And maybe the new experience or the new adventure is learning how to be there for like a Mad Men series that goes on till 8 series. You know, I don't know.
That's
Like,
still
or-
that's still in forward for me. I haven't watched Mad Men yet.
Or I don't know. Oh, I have a better one. Law and Order. So
haven't watched
more
Law
like because Law and Order never ends, right?
That's
So
true.
it's more like
right.
and more
That's
like,
the real
you know,
life. Yeah.
That's the real life. So
Right.
it was interesting because it wasn't what she did in that moment was she made me aware of a choice that I forgot that I had because my default programming was just so used to, okay, this didn't work out. Where to next? It's what I learned as a child, and it's just
Yeah.
what I continued. And again, there's not anything wrong with that. It's just a matter
You
of
were
being
vrooming by moving. Your
Yes.
your default state was time to go. Right.
Yes.
I get
Oh,
it.
this didn't work out. Time to go.
Right.
And of course, whenever you go into a new place, especially being heartbroken, it's like I don't have to think about what came before. I'm getting to
Right.
know a whole new place.
It's a hard
it's
reset. It's a reboot.
it's a hard reset, and it's
Yeah.
also in some ways I would say avoidance.
Yeah, you're running away from that. It's like
That's
let's
right.
change that story.
That's right.
It's also highly liberating. I'll say that. Right? I it's addicting, to tell you the truth. We call
It
it
is.
when we move, when I was in the military and I was moving, we call that PCS, permanent change of station. Right. And you get this like different kind of energy when you get your orders and you can put them on your dorm room and it says like you count out your days, you know, like 21 days in a wake up, you know, and you count them off, you know, you get a whole different vibe, right? It's fun.
It is.
And then you get to like do the double F off and say, I'm out of here, MFers. You know, it's great. And
I mean, it works until
it doesn't work. I know.
until it
like
feels
you
like
said,
autopilot.
yeah,
you know,
totally.
and then I think we're not really. It's just the same. It's the same thing with a different background, and I think
Right.
life is really meant to be lived. And
Totally.
you know, so lived
Right.
also means changing that autopilot function if it feels
That's
like
the
it's
whole point of
beneficial.
this show. Is
Right?
like
Not to keep
how to
repeating.
get off. Well, how to get off autopilot.
Yeah, well, to me, autopilot is repetition because you're just
Yeah, yeah.
repeating
Doing
the
the
same
same
things.
thing.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Just
so
because
for me, that
that's
looked
what
like
you
staying.
always did. We've always done
Exactly.
it that way. Let's do that some more. Right.
Exactly.
It's like the path that's easy.
And so the next move, if I moved again, because you never know, it wouldn't be because I'm running from something.
You'd be moving towards something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It would be a conscious choice. It would be, okay, this is something that I want to do. I've given it consideration. It's not a knee-jerk reaction.
Right.
And I think that's empowerment. That's freedom.
For me, weirdly enough, and I want comments on this. So, you know, you can be my
Don't get
therapist. Yeah, great. So when I retired, we just happened to be in Los Angeles, and my wife liked her job and she liked being where we were because she's from Japan and there's lots of Japanese people and Japanese job and Japanese stuff, right? So she was like happy, like living there in LA, right? And I was too. I was having fun, right? Screwing around, not working, having jobs, doing lots of gigs, just like anything that was different than being in the military. That's what I wanted to sign up for. So I did like psychology degree, and then I went to massage school, lots of temp jobs. It was fun. And then after a while, I realized we were there a long time. And I was like, okay, I wouldn't use these terminologies because it was before the show, but I was rooming. I was just like very comfortable, right? We stayed there like a long time. Like, I don't even know, 13, 14 years, something like that. From 2003 to 2017. I'm bad at math, but a long time. But that is like the staying. That's when I decided to do stay. And, staying is great too, but then that has that sort of like sameness feel to it eventually. And yeah, that's what led me to Vegas. And it wasn't anything like emergency either. It was just like, well, Vegas is close and cheap. And basically everything else is the same.
So what's the comment you were expecting?
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
What would your therapist say?
Oh, well, that I mean, it sounds pretty much like those are all conscious choices. And that's really the invitation for me is it's about just making conscious choices in your life.
Right.
That's part of becoming the creative director of your days. It's understanding that like, this is what's fueling me. This is the behavior is coming from this place and this is conscious. So it sounds like you made conscious choices. So sounds like it worked for you. I am personally also feeling the urge for newness recently after 15 years.
15
but it's a little
years.
more,
Okay.
yeah, it's been complicated because my husband has 2 kids. So I'm not alone in it. Right. And we're not just going to pick up and go somewhere with his kids. So they're too young, 11 and 13. So it's like, how can we design, and this is something we're going to talk about, like how can we design an experience or something that fits the life we want to live now and the life we want to live in the future.
Right.
And those are big, meaty conversations. But I think when you feel, you call it the tap, when you feel a tap and it's not coming from a place of running from something, but it's more like, you know what?
Like a pull.
Yeah, I could have a little newness mix. I'm feeling like I want to be in nature, or I'm ready for something a bit different.
Right.
Now, there are different circumstances in life that need to be considered. All right, let me get creative with it.
Sure.
And with my partner.
Right.
What configurations, permutations could we explore that honor our values and honor our desires, which might be different because usually they are. It's like we have different needs. So that's kind of the process
That's what's
I'm in.
cooking.
But that feels very conscious too. It feels kind of like what you talked about, right? You were in LA for 13 years.
Right.
And then you're like, meh, I've done this. I'm ready for something new. And now you're in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And there's also financial motivation.
Who knows how long Vegas will last? You can always say, I want this to be my forever home. But I know.
Do you though?
I kind of do. Yeah. But only from the perspective of logistics. If that makes any kind of sense. Like, I don't want to buy another house.
Okay.
But other than that, am I in love with Vegas as a place? Kinda, yeah, and kinda no. Kind of like, I like it for what I like it for, but it's not awesome. I can think of better places to live weather-wise. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll end up retiring here or dying here. I don't know. But
I can never think of where I'm going to die. I mean, I don't know either. I like not knowing.
You never know.
I mean,
you never know. Right.
Who knows?
My mom and dad know where they're going to die. I can tell you.
Yeah, no, some people do.
100% they do.
My dad does too.
Yeah,
maybe that's how it is. But but I'd like to leave that open.
Yes,
like, hey,
you want to leave that open. At our age, we don't want to know yet. Right.
No.
No.
Thanks. And maybe this will I don't know, inspire you in some way, or maybe it won't. There's always a possibility of like keeping it home base in Vegas. This is what I'm considering, by the way. Keeping home base in Vegas and then going 3 months in the summer.
Totally.
Going someplace else, renting your place out. So, and then being someplace else.
Yeah.
Which I think we have those options now in 2025.
It's already in the budget that we don't have to rent it out. So we're good.
Oh, well, then fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know you could if you wanted to. If you didn't just want it to sit empty.
Right.
That's also
It's
a possibility,
there.
right?
Yeah.
So, well, that's good. So there you go.
There's logistics on all of that. It's like you want to Airbnb it or rent it out, and then you go, oh, well, then we'd have to clean. I was thinking we might want to get like a storage unit for those months and put all the stuff that like the people living here don't need to see. Like, my wife sells stuff on eBay. So our house is full of books and boxes and packing material.
Gotcha.
Store that and then go to Japan. Yeah. Yeah, but
That sounds lovely.
Japan's great. If you haven't been
I
to
love
Japan,
Japan.
Japan's awesome, right?
I've been to Japan. Japan is awesome.
I know. It's like being in the future, but not.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
an
this
adventure.
odd combination of DMV and Blade Runner. Like, what's your experience of Japan? Like, how much depth?
Well, I not as much as I'd like to have had, but I was in Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka.
Nice.
And I really, actually, we had bought, the rail pass back in the day to go to different places.
The rail
but
pass is great.
But we didn't do it. We ended up just doing those 3 places, and I fell in love with Tokyo. I'm originally from New York City, so I'm a city girl. I'm kind of entering my like country phase. So like
I get it.
I feel like that's starting, but at the time, I just love Tokyo as a city. Tokyo reminds me of New York in one sense that, well, besides it being big, is that each neighborhood kind of feels like a different country-ish.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just so cool to spend one day just perusing and exploring different neighborhoods. And so that's what I did. And I just loved it, from the food.
And you
to
feel like all the
everything.
time, you feel like you're in some sort of like, I don't know. I have to come up with a good example. What's the safest U.S. city you've ever walked around in at night and thought, geez, I feel really safe? That's what Japan feels like every day, all the time.
That's true. Japan is extremely safe.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
And it's extremely clean.
Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy
It is
clean.
until you get out into the boonies.
Really?
It has yeah, sure. Everywhere you go, there will, like, they either care a lot or not at all about what a place looks like. Right. So if there's a place out in the boonies that doesn't need to look like anything, it doesn't. Right. It's very matter of fact. Yeah. There's
I
plenty
found
of
Tokyo
shitty-looking places. Yes. Tokyo, for the most part, where anybody would go as a tourist, is shiny and gleamy.
But
and Blade
even the
Runner-y.
subway.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Blade
I was
Runner.
taking the
Yeah,
subway,
Blade Runner.
and I was like, there was a gentleman who was like cleaning the floor and taking gum off the floor, and it was just
never happened in New
orderly.
York. Right.
No.
No.
So I was like, oh my goodness,
That's
this
part
is
of
the
the
cleanest
color.
subway. Yeah, it's probably the cleanest subway I've ever been in. So I would love to go back to Japan and explore more of the country.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I want to go. I want to not be in Vegas for summer.
That makes a lot of sense, Jeff.
Yeah. Actually, I'll say this. I learned something because let's not read too far into what I'm going to say. But like when I grew up and like for most of my adult life, when I would go home to Michigan, the weather was always awesome. Right? During the summer. Like, so if you go in June, maybe not so July and August, but June is just like cool, breezy. You get some thunderstorms, but you can be outside and comfy like all the time. Right? But not anymore. Now it's like muggy and hot and oppressive and nasty, So I appreciated Vegas more when I got back. I was like, I can hang out and it's a dry heat, So anyway.
That's true. My dad lives, he moved from New York City to Tucson, Arizona. Mm-hmm. So I know about the desert heat. I think the latest I stayed, because I usually visit him in the winter, obviously, was in the beginning of May.
Right.
And it's oppressive. It's dry, but because I like walking around, so people
when
think
you're
I'm
not
nuts.
used to it. That was me like the first year. I did not, every time I walk outside, I was like going to pass out. It's like, it takes like a year to acclimate. I know.
Yo, I believe that because I was in Sri Lanka for two years, and the first, it's hot, it's humid, muggy. So the first, I think it took at least 6 months for me not to take a nap in the afternoons.
Right. Yeah. You've got
my body just conked out. It was like, nope.
Low grade heat exhaustion.
Exactly.
My wife and I called it, I got zapped. And it still happens.
Of course. It gets hot.
Yeah, it gets really damn hot. Yeah. So, okay, what's next for Pia? What are you doing today? Let's talk about this book you wrote. and this website you got, and like talk about some cool clients, because we got to talk about your stuff.
What am I doing today? Well, the audio book just came out, which for Welcome to the Creative Club. Welcome to the Creative Club. Really, I wrote the book to smash the myth that creativity is reserved for the chosen few,
Right.
and to invite everyone to
Blessed
access
with
and apply.
talent.
Yeah, exactly. Like the
right.
beret-wearing artist, no,
Right.
it's an innate part of being human.
Correct.
And really invite everyone to access and apply creativity to the design of their lives.
I like that.
And so I do that through many different ways, using research, neuroscience, interviews, poetic pit stops, field work, and also stories about how I lost and found my creative power. Because I have a little rebel in me. I don't like people telling me how to do things. I'd rather they show
Amen.
me how they did it.
Right.
So it got
Or
a little
what they want
vulnerable.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, or, could put some skin in the game. It's an invitation. It's not it's an anti-how-to. It's more of an invitation back to reclaim what's always been yours, which is
Right.
your creativity. So as part of that, I decided to record the audiobook, which was a great and also somewhat challenging creative project because I've
You
never done
recorded it
anything.
yourself.
I did. I narrated it. It's a personal story, so I didn't feel like anyone else could read it but me. And so that was a beautiful and challenging creative project. And that
Nuts and
just
bolts
launched a
of that
couple
has
of
gotta
weeks
be
ago.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a voice coach and I had a producer and I had people helping. So that made a world of a difference.
Well, you would need that. I couldn't do it myself. I was amazed. There was this podcaster, Scott Sigler. So he was an author first. And then he decided to podcast his novels for free. But he did all the voices and all of everything himself. And I'm like, wow. I mean, not that I couldn't do it. I just don't want to. Just too much damn work. Oh my God.
That's the thing. Like, it depends. It became there was just still joy in it for me. So it was good.
I get it.
I mean, as I said, it was also difficult to
It's really hard.
listen to the sound of my own voice. And something really interesting happened like halfway through the book. I actually started to like the sound of my voice for the first time ever. It's because I've been listening to myself for so long, because you have to listen to yourself, where did the intonation, how was that, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
And then something shifted. So that was a really nice,
You have a great voice.
unexpected outcome.
That's weird.
Well, most people don't like the sound of their own voice, right? I think it's a very human, universal thing. Most people are like, ugh.
Okay.
But so I thought it was just beautiful. Maybe it's because we don't listen to ourselves enough.
I
Right?
think
'Cause
I
the
think I
more-
probably got over it doing this podcast. I've been
There you
doing this
go.
for a long time.
Yeah, you just get used to hearing yourself
I'm hearing
speak,
my
and
voice
then-
now.
There you go.
I kind of like it. Now, I think you're right, though. Like, there's something
Yeah.
you get self-conscious about listening to yourself, especially
Totally.
I'm cool with it live. I don't necessarily like every once in a while I say, oh, that it's not necessarily the sound of my voice, but I just said something dumb. Right? That's always going to happen. That's why I try not to listen to episodes, because you're always going to say something dumb. Yeah.
Well,
It's part of life.
That's like, I mean, I don't know. There could be another perspective of how you look at that. That's one perspective. What's another perspective?
There's tons. Nobody
Right?
wants to think they're dumb.
Well, another perspective is I had the courage to show up fully,
you
not
go.
self-censor.
There you go. I was
rather
being
than
raw. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just
that's
showing
another
up.
perspective.
I was
you could hold.
improving. There you go.
There's so many. So
There's
you
so
can
many.
choose. You can choose to look at it like, oh, I was being dumb. Or you could choose, oh, I was actually being courageous and showing up full of like just being who I am, all parts of me.
Yeah. That's great. So
You get to choose.
who are your favorite clients you're getting at Collective Studio?
All of my clients are my favorite clients.
You fire them.
No,
if
but
they're
no,
not
no.
good.
I'm dead serious. That is the beauty of having your own business and making choices.
You get to pick and
is that I
choose.
get to choose who I work with.
Right.
And
well,
that was
you
it.
should.
And that was a very important shift for me to move from working for someone to working with
someone.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
So
big difference.
I get a lot of it's very rewarding and fulfilling. And a lot of my clients I have relationships. They become like people that
Yeah.
stay in my life, and I
Right,
stay in
right.
theirs.
Yeah.
Because it's not transactional, it's relational.
Right.
So it's work that will come, we'll work together again in the future. I had one client I worked with 10 years ago when I was an agency, and that was just fantastic to be able to pick back up again. So it's very, very rewarding. So I really enjoy the clients I work with right now. I also working as a fractional creative director, and I'm working with for a brand out of LA, and I'm working with a friend who I used to creative director I used to work with years ago. Just had a couple of brainstorms with years ago, and it's been just a match made in heaven. It's been great to co-create together, also under pressure and other things are happening. And the people that I creatively coach and also do other co-create brands and businesses with, it's just a delight, because it's not only what you're creating, but it's who you get to be in the process and who you get to become. And that's the beauty of combining coaching and creativity. It becomes much deeper and more impactful. So it's great.
This whole show is basically like the result. The Vroom Vroom Veer concept came from a branding. What do you call that?
Consultant, expert.
Yeah. Branding. It was a branding team. There were two guys, and it was like a 6-week engagement. And
There you
then Vroom Vroom Veer came out.
See, the power of co-creation.
It was amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think it was going to go anywhere, and then I said something, and then the show popped out. I was like,
There you go.
"That's how that works."
And exactly. And I think the beauty of it is that you have people or partners that help recognize that in you. Like, so the Vroom Vroom
Right.
Veer kind of comes from you, and then are able to channel that back and express it in a very succinct and powerful way, but it's coming from you. Right?
Totally. Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah. I think I said
that's-
something like, how do we get through midlife without a crisis?
Yeah.
Talk about
Well,
it. Right.
Well, here's another frame for that. How do we get through life without a crisis?
You don't.
You don't.
No.
That's the answer. So
No,
why would midlife be any different?
True. Well said. Maybe I guess what we learned is, don't worry. Crises are part of the game. You have to figure those out too.
Yeah, and crises will happen, and
They
the
do.
question is not whether it's not that they happen or don't happen, because they will. It's how we want to be with them after the fact, right? So
Right.
okay, this thing happened. Okay, how do I want to be with it?
Right.
Right.
Right. Totally.
That's the power. We don't have the power to stop things from happening, crises
No.
or other.
Now you're
But
getting
we-
very Zen and Buddhist. You don't,
Once again,
you don't
but
even
we
know.
always we always have the power to choose how we respond.
That's right. That's the
And that's,
second. Don't start stabbing yourself with that arrow again and again and again.
Exactly.
The second arrow injuries are what actually hurt you.
100%. It's that Viktor Frankl quote that I love so much.
Ooh, he's awesome.
He is. There's a space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies our freedom, our capacity for joy and freedom. Something I'm paraphrasing
That's
a bit,
okay.
but
It's perfect.
But it's really beautiful, and it's very true. So stimulus, something happens, right?
Right.
If we can not react, reaction often is autopilot. It's just knee jerk, right?
Yep.
If we can widen the space, like, okay, that thing happened. Let me sit with that. And then choose. Okay, how do I want to respond to it? That's our freedom right there, Jeff.
Right. That gap, that little
That gap, and the more you widen
silent
it,
space. There you
the
go.
more free you are.
There you go. And now I want to go sit in the backyard and meditate again, but it's too damn hot back there now. So this has been a blast, Pia. I'm not going to try the last name again. I screwed it up.
Don't. We don't have to, Mr. Smith.
So easy. Let's see if Mayo. I got that part. Lichter.
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 No, Lichter. Tur.
Tur. See?
There you go. Lichter.
Tur. Okay, there we go. Lichter.
There you go. Perfect.
I asked Google how to pronounce it. They were wrong.
Google won't know.
Pia knows. Google doesn't know shit.
You know?
This has been a blast. So people can touch base with you at, let's say, your website. I know
It's collective.studio. It's
Right.
written in a Danish funny way. So it's KOLLEKTIV.studio.
And
That's where you can find out everything about my work, book a chemistry call, find out more about my book, also the audio book that just released, sign up for the newsletter. So all different ways that we can keep talking.
that sounds amazing. We should keep talking. If you want to come back.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I do. I'd love to keep talking, Jeffrey Smith.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. You have a good one.
Thanks so much for inviting me to hang out with you.
All righty. Hasta la vista.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.